Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be cooking some healthy carrot cake as well as some beetroot, quinoa and tuna patties for lunch. Come with me, let's get started. So first I start by gathering all my ingredients. I have parsley, red onion, 1 egg, quinoa and some steamed beetroot. So I start by finely chopping the parsley stems and the red onion. By chopping the parsley stems, it enhances the flavor of the parsley, as well as finely chopping the red onion. Then I get my steamed beetroot that I've pureed in my NutriBullet and combined it with my quinoa until it creates a nice purple color. Next, I add all the ingredients into a large mixing bowl. Once all my ingredients are in the bowl, I roughly add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of buckwheat flour. You can find this in your local Flannery's or Coles. If you can't find the flour, an alternative is to get the buckwheat kernels and blitz them into a flour in your NutriBullet. Here, you're just trying to find a consistency that works and you can mold them into patties. I try and play around with the buckwheat flour. Between 2 to 5 tablespoons generally works. However, your mixture might be a little bit wetter than mine, so just have a play with it. Here are my finished patties. I also forgot to mention that in this recipe, I also grated in some lemon rind and added some lemon juice at the end. Then I heat my pan and I make sure it's nice and hot, using whatever oil you wish to use. And I place the patties down in the oil and cook for about 3 to 4 minutes either side until golden. Whilst the patties are cooking away, I've steamed some green beans as a side to go with this dish. And just a little tip when you're flipping the patties, try and be super careful. I found during this process, if you try and flip them too roughly, the patties will split and crumble. So just being super gentle. And once flipped, softly pushing on the patty to press the patty down into the pan, making sure all the ingredients are cooked all the way through. So then I begin on the vegan cashew sour cream, and I'm going to use this as a dressing over the top of my beetroot patties. This is a great alternative for a dressing if you are vegan or dairy-free like myself. So what I do is I soak the cashews overnight or about an hour if you're short on time. And once the cashews start rising to the top, you know that they're finished. I then add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a pinch of salt, and a little bit of water. I then blitz it in my NutriBullet until it is the consistency of mayonnaise. Play around with the amount of water that you add. Sometimes you need a little bit more and sometimes you need a little bit less. I then serve my patties with my steamed greens that I made earlier, as well as some radishes, zucchini zoodles, avocado, a sprinkle of hemp seeds, a sprinkle of fennel, and then I add my vegan cashew cream as the dressing at the end. Alternatively, you could use these tuna patties in a lettuce cup or burgers if you wish, or even throughout a salad. They're so tasty and yummy and they make your plate look bright and colourful, and I'm absolutely obsessed. Now I'm going to show you how to make this healthy carrot cake. It is absolutely delicious. I've made it gluten-free, dairy-free, and refined sugar-free, so it is suitable for any occasion. First, I start by gathering my ingredients. So in this recipe, we are going to use 4 eggs, grated carrots, apples, walnuts, coconut, my gluten-free flour mix, coconut sugar, and some spices. I'll link all the ingredients and measurements down below. Firstly, I start by adding the wet ingredients into a bowl. Now, the grated apple in this recipe is going to sweeten the cake without using excessive amounts of sugar. I learnt this trick whilst reading a recipe book from the library, and it works in any recipes. I've tried it in banana cake as well as chocolate muffins. It's a great alternative rather than adding raw sugar. Once all the wet ingredients are in the mixing bowl, I stir until all combined. Next, I add the spices. So here I used cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, and a little bit of ginger. I never really use measurements when using spices. Instead, I prefer to smell the spice and associate the strength of smell with what flavors I want to highlight throughout the cake. I then add the coconut to the bowl, and next I add my gluten-free flour mixture. In this mixture, I add a mixture of almond flour, buckwheat flour, as well as coconut flour and tapioca flour. I find by combining all these flours together, it gives a more fluffy consistency, especially when baking gluten-free cakes. Now, I am no means gluten-free, I am only dairy-free, but I try and bake cakes that are both dairy-free and gluten-free when I'm taking cakes into work to share. This way, everyone can enjoy them. I then add about 2 handfuls of walnuts to the mixture and leave the remainder for the toppings. If you want to make your carrot cake a little bit sweeter, you can add some sultanas in this step. However, my partner does not like when I put sultanas in the cooking, so I have chosen to leave them out. Add a tablespoon of baking powder and then combined. Also, when making new recipes, especially from scratch, it's always important to taste the batter. If the batter is not sweet enough before putting it in the oven, you will definitely have a bland cake. So always make sure you taste your batter before you put it in the oven and just mix in any variances that you think you'll need. So here I've added 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and about 4 or 5 tablespoons of coconut sugar just to sweeten the mixture that little bit more. Then I grease a non-stick pan with some dairy-free butter and add my mixture into the pan. Then the mixture is ready to go in the oven. I bake the cake on around 160 for about 40 to 45 minutes. Then I go on to make my cashew icing. Now, I've never made cashew icing before, so I started with a recipe that I found online. And what I did is I soaked the cashews like I did for the cashew cream dressing, and then I added some almond milk and blitzed it up until I got a running consistency. And then I added it to my icing sugar. However, in this attempt, I added way too much of the cashew cream, and next time I would not add as much. You see here that I had to add extra icing sugar to make the consistency of icing. Also, I have doubts about this recipe as well because adding the cashew cream to the icing sugar made it look a little bit yellow, which I didn't particularly like. So in future, I would just add almond milk to the icing and stick with plain icing as well as some vanilla essence. But you gotta try things to learn things. The final step was to add the icing on top of the cake. I touched the cake just to make sure it was cool to touch and then poured the icing on top. And there you have it, my delicious, dairy-free, gluten-free, allergy-friendly cake that is fit for work or a kid's party. I finished the cake off by sprinkling the remaining of the almonds and a little bit of coconut flakes in the middle of the cake, and it worked out perfectly. Like I said, I would probably just use normal icing in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next week for more recipes.